How can the public believe that facial fillers look natural if every other person they see in the public eye, you know, can look a bit, you know, overdone?
Good afternoon.
Hi,
well, it's not sunny. What's happened to the weather?
I know. I miss it. I miss the sun
Where's it
already.
gone?
It's only a day.
Me too. I know, it's horrible, but never mind.
It keeps you buoyant. It keeps you...
Vitamin D. Just take vitamin D and then you'll think you're in the sunshine.
Oh, okay.
It also just makes me feel happier. It just makes me feel emotionally, I can handle things.
I know.
Of course. Now
but never mind. Yeah, but singing in the rain, remember that?
No, thank you. But before we go any further, can I say like and subscribe to us on YouTube, please?
Yes, like and follow us on Facebook.
And follow us on Twitter, and don't forget to tweet.
And of course, always follow us on Instagram.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you so much.
Now then,
and good night.
Now then. I must stop doing that impression because it's not very PC, is it? It's What to Watch Wednesday. Now, I have been watching the Jeffrey Epstein.
How could you do that? I couldn't watch it.
I had to watch it. It became like sort of compulsory viewing because of the bravery of those women to carry that through for 20 years was astonishing. Incredibly proud of them. And yet
absolutely.
They did get their day in court in the end, but he wasn't there, of course, because he killed himself. Or did he?
That's it.
You see, I am a conspiracy theory person. And I think
me too.
200 million quid, I'm sure you could pay somebody to even be you in prison and get killed. I don't know. I think it's too weird. And whatever happened to Ghislaine? What's her name?
I know, Maxwell.
What's her first name? Ghislaine?
Well, that's a weird one, isn't it? Because they've spotted her in California, apparently. And she's gone really low profile. But again, I guess a new name, a new identity.
Yeah,
she would,
easy done. Money can do anything, can't it? Literally.
Yeah, well, that's it. And I mean,
it's such an abhorrent...
Yeah.
It's such an abhorrent story, and I think you're right. The salute to the women who stood up and said no.
Yeah.
Extraordinary, wonderful. But the idea of just seeing the abuse and hearing that it's so excruciating and agonizing. I think you're amazing to watch it, and I'm sure we will in time. It's just, it isn't my first call.
It's going to take time.
You just wonder how all of these people, President Clinton, President Trump, and Prince Andrew, they're all involved with this man. They all knew him.
Of course.
Friends.
Yeah.
There were girls coming in and out all the time. I was watching it, but after the second episode, I just watched as much as I could, take in. And then I had to turn it off because it was so horrific. And there were, I don't know if you know, but there were sisters, 2 sisters who had the same abuse, and they had to wait 10 years until it hit the court because nobody would listen to them, including the FBI. So it was just horrific. Yeah. So
what have you been watching, Dee?
Well, after switching that off, I went back to an old favourite of mine, which I'd watched years ago, which was Grey's Anatomy, because I'm going back to the book, and it's so brilliant, especially the early ones, because I think it kind of got a bit silly towards the end, but it was like, it's just so great, and just such sort of instant sort of pulp viewing, really, but it's great, and it really hooks you in, and it's such fun.
Do you remember St. Elsewhere? Do you remember St. Elsewhere?
Yes.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, just going back to the old box set sometimes is just so great at this time, just to read, and you miss certain things, don't you? So Harriet, what have you been watching?
Well, I've gone off-piste a bit, and I've gone to YouTube, which is where we sit, as well as Facebook, obviously. But I'm a Disney fanatic, as you know, and I've begun to watch a lot of Disney podcasts and all sorts of things like that, because you also get to go on the rides. There's so much stuff. So it kind of transports me into an era a place that is just about happiness. And sometimes I need a little fix of, going on Thunder Mountain or Pirates of the Caribbean, or just walking through somebody's journey of Disney World. It's just, I just need some time down.
That's the way to do it. You're right, Harriet. Yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Fabulous.
I must do that. I love Disney. I'm absolutely Disney.
It's the best. I've gone to my kids have gone since they were little, and we go all the time. What about you, Sherrie? What have you been watching, darling?
Well, I've gone back as well because I've always been in love with John Nettles.
Oh,
Yes.
And so I have back to back watched all his Midsummer Murders.
Oh, wow.
I always, I mean, and I think I'm the only actress in the world that was never in Midsummer Murders.
I haven't done one.
Wow.
I haven't done one.
But did you do one, Harriet?
Yes, I did.
Did
Did you do one, Dee? Did you do one?
I didn't do a Midsummer Murder, but I did the one in the 90s, which was very similar, which was sort of a different Midsummer Murder, playing somebody's girlfriend. And it was a true story. So that was really
you were going to say you were in Bergerac.
Yeah,
which
I was in
was
that
his other series.
Yes, exactly.
So which ones are you enjoying, darling?
Which I watched them all, but I do love Bergerac too, I have to say.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
I've got them all. I've got them all backed up. I saved everything.
Wow.
And I just watch John Nettles all day and all night.
Brilliant.
And I just love him.
Can I just say a private joke that only us will understand? I'm sorry about this, viewers, but he wasn't the person in Camden, was he, Sherrie? End of private joke.
No, I've never met him either. So, no, I can't tell you the one in Camden.
No.
But,
No, another time.
That was, yes. It was
I think it speaks for itself, darling.
Yeah.
I think it completely speaks for
It
itself.
works
We know
out.
now.
Listen, you have to get me a bottle of wine for me to tell you.
Don't
those
worry,
stories.
I'll get you 3.
The late night show.
Yes. Wines with stories. We need the most potent wine for Sherrie. please.
Yeah.
Me
For
to
the
tell you
stories.
lots of secrets, actually. I have lots
Yes.
of secrets stored away.
I think we all have,
Nobody
actually.
knows about me.
We could all do a secret sharing group.
Oh yes, well,
We could.
I'm going to stop you all because I'm going to invite in our lovely guest
Good.
again because I just love her. It's Dr. Tracy Mountford. Yay!
Hi, Tracy.
Hi.
Now listen, Tracy, before we even begin, you have to promise to give us uplifting news because I've had to have solid therapy since you were last here because of the shrunken heads and the sinking eyes. So this day has to be happy, okay?
I can do happy. I can do.
Thank you.
Maybe not so truthful, Tracy.
Yeah, just a little.
Yes.
Yeah.
Uplifting.
I have to say to you that I started my menopause 300 years ago. So I have a 300-year-old skin. Now, I don't quite, it's sort of hanging around and sort of wobbling and dragging around. And I push it around the bathroom floor and pick it up and sling it over my shoulder and pick it in my knickers. I do everything to get rid of it.
Too much, Sherrie.
And the only thing I can do with it, because there's quite a lot of it now since the lockdown, is to find out what to do with that dreadful skin that I've got, what I've got left. I mean, have you got a magic cream?
Do you mean your facial skin or do you mean your body skin?
Well, my whole body is collapsed. There's nothing, I mean, it's all collapsed on the floor. You can't see now, but I wear boots so that it falls into the boots. I can pull it up. I wear very tight knickers so it holds it all into my knickers and then it goes.
You see, that's the problem because as we get older, it's true. I look at my daughter who's in her 20s and everything just stays in place, doesn't it? And as we get older,
Yes.
no matter what shape or size we are, the skin quality just deteriorates. So nothing's quite as firm or as lovely as it was before, no matter how well we look after ourselves. It goes back to that old thing we were talking about last time we were chatting, is that, you know, genetics play a big part, but ultimately we are built to have hormones. You know, us girls need our hormones circulating in order to keep our skin nice and firm and lovely. And I'm afraid we do get older. So it's really hard. And it's hard because prevention is always better than cure. You know, if we're very proactive with what we do.
It's too late for me then, prevention. Yeah.
It's not too late, but the thing is that depending on our genetics, also creams aren't going to do very much to our body skin, really, to be, you know, to be honest. I mean, we can put these lotions on and retinol creams on, but actually it's because we've lost a bit of of dermal fat, and our skin has lost its elasticity. It's fat. So the good old HRT that we touched on before is obviously going to help. But there are some really good body treatments. There are some good things like, you know, Tixol that regenerates, you know, collagen and elastin. But it takes a hell of a effort to do that.
You and I have had this conversation, Tracy, about certain people with certain skin types. And you and I have always said we've got the same skin, sadly.
Yeah.
Which I call the chicken see-through skin.
Yeah.
And also when you get to this age, everything empties from your face. Absolutely. Now, some people keep that lovely roundness, don't they? But I remember you and I saying, but ours empties because we've got that sort of skin. And there's not much you can do about that, is there?
Yeah.
And I mean, the nowadays, as again, we all know in the good old days, we used to remove teeth to straighten them. We don't do that anymore. Gum recession plays a big part. We won't be too negative again today.
I'm on the starting
But it's
block.
true, though. It's true.
But we won't.
Yeah.
And as I said, literally the bone shrinks. But there is some good news.
Thank God.
What? Tell me what I do with this.
But, you know, things like there are, you know, people are a little bit funny and anti about facial fillers. And I do understand why, because we see so much bad facial.
Yes.
And even in the celebrity world, where frankly they should know better than to go crazy and look, you know, they should have all the best advice. And again, I touch on this all the time. How can the public believe that facial fillers look natural if every other person they see in the public eye, you know, can look a bit overdone? But actually, if facial fillers are done very gradually, strategically, slowly, and it looks really good because they stimulate natural collagen back in the skin. They give that bit of oomph, a bit like scaffolding. You wouldn't consider, you know, think of your face like a house.
Oh Christ, here we go.
Yes.
Oh God, I'm in the basement then.
This is
I'm in the pipes below the basement, dear.
You wouldn't build a house without foundation. You just wouldn't build a house without foundations. So how can we expect as we age for all our walls and to stay up?
Oh yeah, you're right.
So what we've got
Yes.
to build the deep foundation so that the skin drapes and looks beautiful over the top. And that's why sometimes clever, strategic, subtle use of facial fillers can actually make that skin look more lifted, look more firm, because it's actually replacing what has been lost. So where it goes too far is when you over replace or you put loads of filler in thinking that looks great, and it doesn't look great, it looks weird.
Yeah, you look like a duvet, don't you?
Yeah.
I always find it, I don't know if anybody else or the other girls have this feeling as well. That's my daughter just going by. I'm sorry. Is that I find it odd to look at my face and see my grandma's skin. And what I remember looking at her when I was a little girl and seeing this older skin, it's so shocking to me because I never thought I'd be here. And it's weird to realise the thin skin, the pores open a bit more. I mean, as you say, the fillers probably can do that. I don't know, I've not ever had any. But it is extraordinary to look at it and think, oh, that's me now. Oh, okay.
We all look, you know, we all feel very young inside. I know by watching you girls all the time, you know, we're all very, very young at heart. We still feel like we did. It's true. I remember my grandmother saying that. She still felt 30.
Yeah.
Yes.
You're an old woman. But actually.
Exactly. Yeah. And Tracy, I was going to say, I remember years ago doing a thing with Anita Roddick, you know, the body shop lady.
Yeah.
And she said, and I don't know whether you agree, because I've always thought about her words, and she said that actually creams and any cream is, you know, you can use any cream for the good as long as it's got a lot of water in it. But then to hydrate, is that true? And then I've heard the opposite.
Yeah, I mean, things have moved on so much. And I think now what the key thing is with these new products, I mean, if somebody had asked me 25 years ago, it's going back a long time, I appreciate it. Somebody had asked me 5 years ago, you know, what should I spend and invest a lot on creams? I would have said, forget it. Just, you know, the cheapest thing, buy anything. It's just worth it. I think other way, it's gone the other way now, where you can spend a fortune on creams and actually nothing.
Yeah.
Actually, some of the very active creams, like we touched on last time, things with peptides in, things with retina, you know, vitamin A in them, vitamin C in them, they're actually very active. Now, they actually work quite well at superficial level. They're not going to get really deep to replenish volume, but they will improve fine texture. The reality is, once you get a pore that should be round and tight and lovely, and you actually get older and it becomes open and elliptical, you're never going to close those pores.
Me.
But to answer your question, things that contain hyaluronic acid, which is a hydrator that we inject into fillers, actually products now contain some hyaluronic acid. You've probably seen it all over. And depending on the delivery system, and that's the key, depending on whether they actually get through the skin, actually they can hydrate the skin look better, but they will always have a limitation. They will always have a limitation. And we know that.
Yeah, absolutely. Because I've got very dry skin. My skin is extra dry. It always has been, actually. So it's like, so I used creme de la mer at one point, but that's so expensive. And I can only afford that once every so many years. Do you know what I mean? But that was fabulous. But, you know, so good to know what you just said.
It's very difficult to choose the right thing. I think that basically if you do the basic steps, which is antioxidants, vitamin A, vitamin C, keep the skin well hydrated, yes. Maybe use something with hyaluronic acid in it as well, and sunscreen, then actually over time, what happens with most people is they get bored with a very active skincare regime. They get side effects to it because if you're using products that are very active and work, they may make you red. They may make you spotty temporarily. They may need a bit of jiggery pokery to get your right regime for you. What you do on your skin is not the same for any other person.
Of course.
Then people go, blow that, I look worse, I'm going to bin those products, I'm allergic to them, when actually that's not true.
Yes.
So you need often somebody either in a clinic environment, particularly for very active products, to handhold you through the process, and then you get used to it, skin gets acclimatized to it, you actually get some quite good results. People who've used good skincare, very active skincare for years, you can see the difference. You can see it.
I mean, I've been very lucky with my skin, and I think the reason is because as a child, really up until about 10 years ago, I could never even physically go in the sun without being very ill. So I've always stayed out of the sun. So I'm really, really lucky. And that is, I'm sure, one of the reasons that skin ages. But my skin has not, but I do use lots of active skincare. I've been having treatment since I was about 40. And so therefore, you know, everything's good. And you've sent me some fabulous Zoe products to try. And that's exactly what happened to me. I reacted immediately, which is what happens. And we just said, just go down. And then today, everything looks fine, so I've started again. But I think, Tracy, what people do need to understand, and perhaps what I don't even understand, I'm sure the girls won't either, what does an active product actually mean when it's active?
I suppose the reality means that it's actually proven to work. So it's actually proven to do something, like it's actually got clinical evidence to prove that it will regenerate some collagen. It's got clinical evidence to prove that it will regenerate and do something. So for example, we've known about vitamin A products, retinols, for years, donkey's years. I mean, retinol products have been around since 20 odd years ago. And actually we know that does cause a little gentle skin peel. It causes the surface of the skin to slough off, and it actually regenerates collagen. We know that. That's clinically proven. So that's what I mean. It's something that is proven to have a true effect that has been measured, not something where you think, oh, well, that sort of feels okay and looks quite good. So the antioxidants, things that they're called the antioxidants, but they're the ACE, the ACE, vitamin A, which is retinols, vitamin C, and E, actually. They're the ones that actually really help regenerate the skin if they're produced well, and they actually go deeper into the skin. And the other thing is things like peptides. And there's all these kinds of, if you get a a skincare product now that's deemed to be a very active one, and you look through, they'll often have peptides in as well. They're very active. They stimulate collagen. They actually make the skin look much.
Now, do you say though, it's what, you know, the woman in the street goes into, say, Boots or somewhere like that, and you look at them and you think, well, actually, they must have that much ingredient in you know, the ingredients must be so tiny in most of the stuff you buy on the shelves. Or is that not true?
Wasn't there a Boots number 7
Yeah,
that was proven to be an amazing product, better than anything?
Yes, and that flew off the shelves. And in fact, there's been...
But was it true though?
Well, I think for some people, yes, it will work quite well. I mean, I'm not going to damn it up because that would be wrong. It definitely had active products in it, but there was actually a whole program on it a few years ago, wasn't there?
Yeah.
Effective it was. And so the good thing is nowadays, I won't talk so much about that product, but generally some of the products that are sold over the counter do have very active products, as much as they're allowed to sell, you know, because there are rules and regulations associated with the amount of product. So they are allowed to sell those, and actually they would have, if they're a good high quality product with good quality ingredients, they probably would have an effect. But when you want to go to the next level, when you want to actually really get your skin really, where you can run a bit more risk of negatives in the short term, like I said, redness, then you do need to go more into a clinic environment where somebody will ramp it up for you. Because sometimes it's the combinations of things that will give you the best result. I do agree. Look, I've said this many times before. I don't like just selling people products and products and products. You know, that's not really a very, I don't think it's a good idea. But if you use 1 or 2 or 3 hero products with a patient in clinic, high concentrations of very active ingredients, that's the difference. In clinic products, we can use higher concentrations of these active ingredients. Thereby, we should be able to get a better result for you, or a quicker result for you as well. So that's different.
I think a lot of the time there, Tracy, people who don't use skincare then start using it. So they go to Boots and whatever, and they say this stuff is wonderful because they've never done it before. With someone like me, when someone like me to go back to one of those products, it just wouldn't work because I'm so used to much higher end stuff.
I agree, and I think there's nothing wrong with getting a high quality skincare product. I know people who use, you know, the Boots product and think it's great, and there's definitely active ingredients in that, and it's very you know, it's a really good price. So for a lot of people, that would be absolutely fine. I think it's more for somebody like yourself, as you say, Debbie, who wants to take what we say is who want to take skincare very, very seriously and want to perhaps invest a bit more time, not huge amounts more money, believe it or not, a bit more money, yes. But it's more having the aggro of coming into a clinic or having a virtual consultation saying, right, fiddle around with it. It's a bit fiddly. But once you reach the right regime for you, you will get, or you should get, really superior results from using clinical grade skincare.
But in this lockdown time, Tracy, where no one can go out, no one can go to a clinic, no one can go to do we just get a hot tea towel and wrap it round our neck and put a bulldog clip as tight as we can and just leave it on? And maybe when we take it off, the neck will have lifted itself. Do you think that
is an answer? I mean, it's really interesting what you say, because though we're laughing about this and joking about this, the one thing that lockdown has done with us all, as we touched on before, is actually made us appreciate things like our hairdressers. And I know you've done your own home job, Sherrie, beautifully, but I certainly haven't. And actually, it's made us appreciate all these hair stuff we do and the treatments that people have done. So in answer to your question, there's not much we can do at home. Great skincare, looking after ourselves, doing all the things we know we've got to do to be fit and well and healthy.
Something else that I've found that is, I've come to be more accepting of who I am.
Yeah.
And I think that's...
Have you?
I've got to be... Yeah, I haven't got my nails done, or I haven't had a pedicure, which I do maybe once or twice, you know, once a month, if that. I want to look different, and I want to look younger, and I want to have a little, ropes and pulleys around the back of my neck so I can just pull it all back, obviously. But I also have met a moment of acceptance, which is quite nice too.
to me, it's not about looking younger. To me, it's about looking as good as I can look.
And that's why I said
That's
reclaiming,
it.
yeah, me, reclaiming me.
That's
Absolutely.
exactly
it's not about
right.
younger.
It's not
I
about
want
younger.
No, it's not. It's about reclaiming who we are. Yeah, exactly.
Feeling good about
But
yourself.
there's also acceptance of some things. And if maybe my lid lag is a bit lower, then today it is. Not forever, but it is today, and it's okay.
Yeah.
I think that's really interesting, because what we found from patient feedback, you can imagine what happened when we first went into lockdown. And we have a lot of regular patients, so we're a very big clinic, and people that I know as friends, and people I've known over the years, and treated over the years. And of course, when we all went into lockdown, and as we all are very mindful of the fact that, hey, there was something far bigger going on in the world than our bit of treatment, fact.
Yes.
But people initially were fine, understood it. Now people are really seeing things wearing off, and are really keen to get back. But it's more,
Really?
It's not so much that they're upset about how it is, because it's become part of their life, and it just makes them feel better. A bit like Debbie said, just makes them feel they're still accepting.
Yes.
There's a few people that have sort of lost the plot with it, but they are. But you know what? I just prefer it when I have it done. And as soon as you're open, please can you put me?
When are you open, Tracy? When are you open?
You're going to ask. And we're going to be very, very, very careful. We're probably the beginning of July. We're pretty much there, actually. We've got the clinic set up. The good thing is, because we've got infection control measures already in place, clinical way. We actually, of course, we've got to do the signage and the PPE and all the stuff that we have to do. But the experience, apart from the fact we'll all look a bit weird with all these visors and things on, will actually be just as much fun. I've insisted, because I'll be wearing scrubs, surgical. I said, I'm sorry, I've got to have nice fitting scrubs. I can't walk around. I've insisted. I said, look, I'm sorry, I'm not a big ego person, but, I draw the line somewhere. So actually, I've got different coloured scrubs. I've got my name monogrammed on the back, so I can be
great.
That's hysterical.
We're doing it for fun, for patients too,
Absolutely.
actually. Because they want to know they're safe, but they want to have fun too, and know that all the people. So we're open very soon. We're pretty much there. Bookings are heaving, as you can imagine. So, and again, going back, I agree, accept what you are, but you know what? My hair, I'm not accepting that at all.
There are limitations, aren't there, Tracy? What you can accept.
But listen, thank you. Please come back and see us again soon, won't you?
You girls,
please.
Bye.
Enjoy the rest.
Lovely to see you, Tracy.
Thank you. Lovely.
We'll see you soon, Tracy.
See you very soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Tracy.
Bye. Bye. Well,
that wasn't
depressing today,
It
Harriet.
wasn't as devastating as last time. I'm not going to have to book the therapist.
No.
No, but she's
lovely.
She's very, very honest.
Yes, and that's
She
what we
That's
need.
what she has to be, and that's
Well,
what we need.
Now, Friday is a really, because my radio son, not my television son, Lee Ridley, Mr.
Yes.
Lost Guy, is going to be our guest. And he's just absolutely brilliant. I'm so excited that he's coming on the show. You know him as well, Harriet, don't you?
Yes, we do. I did a gig with him. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It was wonderful.
Great.
Oh, fantastic.
Have you met him before, Sherrie?
No.
Very
No,
interesting.
And he's so funny. He's so funny, isn't he? He's hilarious.
Yeah.
Great.
I'd love to see his stand-up. I'd love to see his live stand-up.
Oh God, yeah.
It's brilliant.
He's brilliant.
I saw him in Edinburgh, but I was honoured to play his mum in a radio series called Ability, which we've done 3 series, and it's coming back again if we can ever get back to work.
If you can ever,
in November. But yes, so Lee's going to join us on Friday, and thank you all for. And the other thing is our competition. Yes, we've got the Given Bridge Hotel, which have offered a midweek romantic. Sort of midweek romantic break, and then we've got the wines with stories, and we've got a psychic reading with Sharon Burbridge, and we've got one
I love her.
What was the other thing? Oh, of course,
Harley Street.
Harley Street are giving us some £200 worth of red carpet facial, £200 pounds worth of products. We've got everything. So have a look
Everything.
on our Facebook page, and you'll see all the things that you need to enter into our competition. And all you have to do is make sure that you've followed us on Facebook, Harriet,
And of course on YouTube,
And
Subscribe.
Twitter.
and Sherrie.
And Instagram.
how many
Instagram.
times, Debbie, how many times have you applied already? Have you entered?
17.
Okay, just
As 17 different people.
Yes.
of course.
Of course.
So anyway, everybody, we will see you on Friday. And thank
See you
you.
Friday.
Yeah.